What's up, OurStage? I'm your EJ, Alyssa Jane Hale, here with John Cameron Mitchell, writer, director, actor, producer, all of the above. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Directing is said to be the single most collaborative and solitary process. Do you have any advice for young filmmakers who are coming into this?
Well, I always recommend that the director is a writer. Even if they're not the sole writer, that they have their imprint on the script as well, because they have to be able, it has to come directly from the heart for it to be something worthwhile.
In a lot of really young independent films, that the directors try and wear too many hats, and they almost neglect to communicate with their actors at all on any level.
I always recommend that directors take a short acting class. You know, to see what it's like, and even maybe shoot themselves doing a scene with camera and light meters and everything, all those things that distract an actor. They need time, they need rehearsal, they might not need rehearsal, they need, you know, each of them have different needs, and the director needs to take the time way beforehand. In fact, with Short Bus, I took 2.5 years to work with the actors.
Wow.
It is a very collaborative process, and part of the joy is that you're saying, surprise me, to your actors, to your designers, whatever, giving them parameters to be creative, and it's also just more relaxing because then you don't have to do everything.
Right.
And you have someone to celebrate with at the end of the day. I would not only recommend that they try an acting class, but also ask themselves if what they're writing and making scares them. If it doesn't scare them a little, it's not worth doing. I mean, the subject matter, not just the budget,
Right.
but what it's about.
Even if you're trying to do something lighthearted and comedic,
Yes.
or a children's film.
I believe so. Yeah, I mean, the best children's stories often are associated with extreme emotions. You know, with the best ones for me are very much associated with death. And if it is something like, what scares you a little bit? What is the character, even in a light heart? I mean, Short Bus in some ways is very light. In some ways it's pretty intense. You know, the sex, growing up very Catholic and stuff, that part scared me. You know, like, what are these characters, their need to connect is something that I can relate to. The idea of there are different kinds of voyeurism, breaking down and actually reaching out and touching somebody becomes a huge, scary thing for them and for me. So unless it scares you a little, it might not be worth doing. You've got to know what has been done in order to come up with new ideas, and it's be inspired by what has been done. I mean, the Beatles listened to every R&B and blues soul record before them and then did their version of it, and then went on from there to do something quite different. Start with the things that you love. Look at what you love. Break it down. Do a storyboard. One of the most useful things I did at the Sundance Lab was take a scene that I loved from a film and actually drew storyboards of every shot. And I broke it down and I was like, oh, I didn't know the camera was panning right and then it was panning left and right, left, and then froze in the middle. You know, emotionally you don't notice that at first, and then you break it down and you're like, okay, there's some technique here I can learn. The marketing side is a very difficult thing to think about, because you're like, this is my thing, you know, I can't compare this to anything, that's why I love it.
Right.
But then investors will say, yeah, but unless you got, you know, a certain star in it, we don't know how to market it. We can't say it's the next Napoleon Dynamite or the next Taxi or the next. It's like, yeah, but those films weren't like any other films before them.
Right.
There's no Taxi Driver wasn't like any other film, and it became an incredible seminal film because of that. So how the hell do you get your original film out there? You know, that's part of the challenge, but it's an exciting challenge.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For sitting down with us today. This has been Artist Access with John Cameron Mitchell. Thanks for stopping by.
For more, go to ourstage.com/artistaccess or click Artist Access at the top of our homepage.